After the Connacht football semi-final between Mayo and Galway at Tuam a fortnight ago was the first half incident in which the Mayo forward Kevin McStay was injured and which is the subject of an inquiry on Tuesday night. Well, that set the backdrop for what was sure to be a needle game between the two sides when they met in the replay this afternoon at Castlebar, where Jim Carney was the commentator.
The return of Kevin McStay, the man in the eye of the storm for the past 2 weeks, cheers Mayo's massive support in a packed McHale Park. But there's a new position for the Ballina-born Army officer today, for he's now at right half forward in the Mayo attack. It's a team that has one late change, also in that half forward line, where Noel Durkin has cried off with an injury, and that means a recall from Michael John Mullen, corner forward the last day, but omitted in the original selection for this replay. Jimmy Burke is recalled too. He's on the 40, but he may interchange with Liam McHale, the full forward, either early or late in this replay. Galway keep faith with the forward formation that started in the drone game, which means another spell of duty up front for defender Alan Mulholland. While John Joyce, normally a midfielder, is again at full forward, with Gay McManus, late goal hero in Tuam, on the 40 as usual. In defence, Aidan O'Shea, called in at the 11th hour a fortnight ago, is retained at right half back, and John Fallon captains the team from left half. But in a very late change, Jerry Dolan of Ballinasloe comes in at right full back for Sean Glynn. Sean Mullaney of Roscommon, referee in the controversial drone game, hands the game again today. Already Mayo have made wholesale changes with Liam McHale, that's the most interesting one, out from full forward to midfield. But Galway with the first attack of the match. John Joyce, the full forward. Policed very closely by Peter Ford, and then trying that speculative log, John Joyce, and Willie Joe Patton goes highest to lift Mayo in the very first minute and raise the first cheer of the day. Here's Liam McHale. Mayo with their attack totally rearranged. The midfield now reads Padden and McHale. The forward line reads Michael Fitzmaurice right half forward, Sean Maher centre half forward, and Kevin McStay left half forward, where he was named to play the last day. The full forward line then reads Anthony Finnerty right full forward, Jimmy Burke full forward, and Michael John Mullen left full forward. So wholesale changes in the Mayo forward line. But the ball out of play. And that a line ball right down there in that corner, and Frank Broderick has gone across to kick it for Galway. A huge crowd in McHale Park in Castlebar. You could almost reach out and touch the tension. Mayo supporters, of course, heavily outnumbering Galway, who incidentally won the toss. But Willie Joe Padden wins his second high one of the day for Mayo. Bosco Walsh, a good catch for Galway. Eric Elwood trying for the first score of the game, but he didn't put a lot of weight on that one and he pulled it wide. So the first scoring chance falling to Galway, but missed by Eric Elwood. A first kick out then for Eugene Lavin, the experienced Mayo goalkeeper, one of the best in the business. Put out by Aidan O'Shea for Galway, coming through and winning himself a free. Frank Noon for Mayo, a timely interception. Very composed on the ball. A run from Michael John Mullen. Challenged hard by Jerry Dolan and fouled, free to Mayo. Dermot Flanagan's kick, grabbed in there by Liam McHale, trying to make a run, knocked off the ball by Frank Broderick. Good work by the Galway full-back. That was a scoring chance for Mayo. It went to begging. Eric Elwood, trying to make amends for a wide a moment ago, gives it to Damien Tumman to his left. Tumman, trying for the point, and he gets it. The first score of the match in the 3rd minute. Padden and Walsh, the two big fielders. Padden wins it well. There's a new spring in Willie Joe Padden's step today. He looks a different man altogether. Anthony Finnerty, well caught by the Mayo man. Has Jimmy Burke to his right. A drive by Anthony Finnerty to Jimmy Burke. What's on here? It's a penalty. It was Anthony Finnerty who set that one up. The Mayo supporters are thrilled with themselves getting a penalty so early in the game. Only 7 minutes gone. Anthony Finnerty worked it through to Jimmy Burke. He knifed his way in. He looked to be covered. There could well be a question mark against the penalty. Was it a penalty or was it not? I don't think Galway supporters will be happy about it, but that's irrelevant. Anthony Finnerty with the kick. He nets it. A good goal by Anthony Finnerty. Anthony Finnerty set up this penalty chance. He was the man entrusted with the task. Michael John Mullen had failed in the drone game. It was a very good kick by Finnerty, but the questions will be asked, was it a penalty? Sean Maher with Dermot Flanagan in support. Dermot Flanagan will play with a lot of determination today. He got a lot of stick for his performance. That was a great crossfield ball to Willie Joe Padden, and he drives it over the bar. It might well have been a goal, but Padden, all the same, will be delighted with that point. Mayo with their tails up now. Liam McHale, so influential. A great ball into Sean Maher on the run. Sean Maher, the chance of the point. That was a very good kick. It was also a very good run by Sean Maher and a very good pass by Liam McHale. In the middle of the field, Damien Tumman for Galway. He's been very quiet in the earlier aerial exchanges, giving best to Padden and Maher. But a chance here from Michael Gavin. A great save by Eugene Lavin. It might still fall for Michael Brennan. To Kevin Walsh. There's only a point. In fact, there isn't even that. It's gone wide. That was a golden chance for Galway. Oh, what a miss that was by Michael Gavin. Well, it was Damien Tumman from the middle of the field who set it up. Michael Gavin suddenly found himself free, running towards goal. He could easily have picked his spot. The goalkeeper did well, however, to smother it. Full marks to Eugene Lavin. Mayo well on top right throughout the field, but 5 wides, no fewer than 5 wides, all from good positions, you have to say, even allowing for the fact that there's a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, a lot of atmosphere and a lot of heat, really, in championship football at any level, but particularly today in these circumstances. Well, we're coming up to 20 minutes play. Remember, 35 minutes a half in championship football, as Frank Broderick knocks that one down. To Michael Brennan, virtually his first touch. To Michael Gavin, taking on Dennis Carney, but not really going round him on the right when he had the chance. And now he's put Gay McManus under a bit of pressure. But Galway get a free. Well, disappointingly little continuity in this game. John Joyce here for Galway, trying for the long-range point and getting it. A very good kick by John Joyce. But good use of the quick free by Gay McManus too. That wasn't such a good kick by Eugene Lavin, but it can still come right from Mayo. Frank Broderick beats Jimmy Burke. 3 Mayo men there to it. One of them is Kevin McStay, looking for someone to give it to. He may knife his way through here. Liam McHale. But 3 Galway men to cut it out. And Liam McHale's use of the ball certainly not matching the excellent approach work. But this is Michael Fitzmaurice from Mayo. Almost 22 minutes of play gone. With the chance of the point, he's got it. A nice one by Michael Fitzmaurice, his first of the game. He kicked some very good frees in the drawn game too. Just that penalty goal between the teams. Mayo leading. Damien Tumman trying to set something up for Galway. Michael Brennan going high here for Galway, but not a lot of conviction in that jump. And there wasn't a lot in Michael Gavin's effort there either. John Finn, the man who lifted Mayo so splendidly in the drawn game. Jimmy Burke lets it run through, but Bosco Walsh back there to cover for Galway, and Tomas Tierney can take the pass from him. Or he can give it instead, as he does, to Aidan O'Shea. To Michael Brennan. Dennis Carney in close attention. Michael Brennan trying to get through for the scoring chance. There's a point there surely for Michael Brennan. Yes, a good kick, a good run, good approach work by Galway. The score smartly snapped up by Mike Brennan. Michael Fitzmaurice from Mayo. A good ball. Well, the angle suited him really. He was looking up, he judged it nicely, and he got the point, and that'll cheer Mayo supporters, disheartened really by the inaccuracy of their side over the last 15 minutes. Just under a minute to half-time as Bosco Walsh clears this ball for Galway. Michael Collins, one of Mayo's substitutes. Only to Brian O'Donnell. mistakes all over the place now. John Fallon here for Galway. He may try for a point from there. It's wild, however. And Damien Tumman for Galway can only put it wide. But in any event, I think it's a free out to Mayo. 2 points in it as we come up to half-time. 1-4 for Mayo, 5 points for Galway. Liam McHale down towards Sean Maher. There's a man free to his left if he can find him. Sean Maher looking for the point and driving it over the bar. A good ball by Sean Maher, who has done some very good things in this match, but he's had quiet spells too, and Mayo, the flags aloft again. That Mayo point by Sean Maher coming in 1 minute of time added on. And because there were stoppages and substitutions on both sides, we may have at least 2, if not 3 minutes of extra time in this first half. And the Galway man now will be spoken to, Michael Brennan. I think John Finn is the man who's down. Well, he was down, he's up again. There's a nasty scene developing here in the middle of the field. There's Dermot Flanagan, the Mayo number 6, very upset. John Joyce, the Galway man, there too. And this is really ugly stuff now, and there's absolutely no need for it, surely, because the ref was in charge there. Well, we had a lot of controversy in the drawn game. I think Sean Maher may be off the field here, and I think Michael Brennan has been sent off too. We had a lot of controversy in the drawn game. There was a lot of nasty stuff, but that particular incident there should never have developed, because the referee was in charge. Michael Brennan has been sent off. Well, I can tell you that Sean Maher is still on the field. We'll have to sort this one out. Michael Brennan of Galway definitely has been sent off, as Anthony Finnerty tries for the point but fails. We'll surely have half-time now. We're 2.5 minutes into time added on. The umpire, one of the linesmen, is out on the field calling Sean Maher off, I'm almost certain. And now there's no doubt, but Sean Maher is going off the field. Well, these are crazy scenes really in Castlebar. And there's Sean Maher. It took him a long time to go off, but he was sent off. So too was Michael Brennan. Crazy scenes really, something that should never have developed. And surely in this instance, the players must take the blame. And it's half-time in McHale Park, where Mayo lead by 1-5 to Galway's 5 points. Just a goal in it. A match that started in bright fashion, then it degenerated into very poor football by both sides, and then it degenerated first into farcical scenes really, as the players pulled and dragged at each other, and even some players pulled the hair of other players, and then it got nasty, and then Michael Brennan of Galway and Sean Maher of Mayo were sent off. Second half gets underway, both teams doing their best now to adapt tactically to the needs of the 14-man game. John Finn having a good game for Mayo. To Michael Collins. Michael Collins for Mayo. Towards Anthony Finnerty. John Fallon to keep it in play for Galway, the Galway captain. But a free into Mayo. Dermot Flanagan's kick in towards Jimmy Burke, punched down by Frank Broderick. Balls to Tomas Tierney. Foul coming through. Will the ball be where will the free be where the ball lands? No, it's from the original point. Kevin Walsh for Galway. To John Joyce. That was a very good ball by Kevin Walsh. John Joyce will try and carry this one. He's Jimmy Brown approaching. John Joyce tries for the point. He got a very nice one in the first half, and now he's got a very nice one in the second too. Drops towards the Galway goal there, but Michael John Mullen couldn't keep it in. Punch down towards Kevin McStay, who'll take on Aidan O'Shea again. Well, no, he gives it to Frank Noon, who called well for the ball. Frank Noon looking for the point. That looks a very good one by Frank Noon. Oh, that's glorious football by Frank Noon. Credit him with the point, but credit him also with the run, and he called for that ball as Kevin McStay attempted to go by his man. 2 points between them again, as Michael Fitzmaurice knocks it down towards Frank Noon. who is fouled yet again. And I have a feeling that a booking will follow here. And the name of Tomás Tierney goes into referee Sean Maloney's book for that foul on Frank Noon. Morris, the Mayo free taker, hasn't had all that much good luck in his free taking. Kevin McStay knocks it down towards John Fallon, one of Galway's better players. Down towards Michael Gavin, who's had to come very deep to win the ball. Tomás Tierney towards Brian O'Donnell. Peter Ford there too for Mayo. O'Donnell out for so long with injury. Has he the fitness and the pace to get round his man? Well, he wants to give it to somebody. Michael Gavin called for it. Michael Gavin then. An important one this for Galway. They need all the scores they can get. To Pádraig Kelly. Looking again for Kevin Walsh. That wasn't a good ball, however, and Brian O'Donnell will hardly win it. But there are two Galway men there. Tomás Tierney calls for it. Down towards Kevin Walsh. Won it well, did Kevin Walsh. Looking for the point. But the range eludes him. Jimmy Brown's kick, collected by Tomás Tierney. Frank Noon had gone back, incidentally, to help the defence. And that's why Tierney was free to collect that one for Galway. Alan Mulholland drives it towards John Joyce. Knocked down to Pádraig Kelly. He'll have to take on Jimmy Brown here. Swings it in towards Michael Gavin. Trying to round Peter Ford. Tipped in, but TJ Kilgallen, who else? Standing back there. Not a good delivery, however. It comes to Tomás Tierney. Can he get it to Kevin Walsh? Tomás Tierney drives through, wins himself the free. Free after free after free. Foul after foul after foul. Tomás Tierney with the free for Galway. Swings it in and swings it wide. And nothing now going right for the Galway. And that's a picture that tells its own story. Both teams have made substitutions as the referee hops this one. Ray Dempsey, he's the Mayo substitute. Tomás Mannion is on for Galway. And that wasn't a good clearance, and Galway putting themselves continually under pressure. Bosco Walsh, however, to lift the siege. I have a feeling, however, it may be only temporary. Michael Gavin to Brian O'Donnell. Points not good enough for Galway, you feel, and indeed it's a struggle to even get points. Brian O'Donnell to Pádraig Kelly. Yes, there's a point there, all right. That's one for Pádraig Kelly, but they'll need a lot more than that with 22 minutes gone in the second half. TJ Kilgallen providing the leadership that Mayo so badly need, but they're all failing their inability to punch things home. Well, as I speak, Liam McHale drives it low into the net. I was about to say that Mayo weren't really driving it home because there was only one score in it. A goal would have done it for Galway. Galway needed a goal, but it was Mayo that got it. TJ Kilgallen drove that free in. McHale, he's very skillful, he's very tall. He pulled it down, he drove it home. Ray Dempsey. Jimmy Burke. Trying the sharp angle. Well, it's flagged. It's flagged as a point. There are a lot of people in McHale Park who wouldn't bet on that one being a point, but it's gone up on the board anyway. Michael Gavin for Galway. Tomás Mannion, the Galway substitute. Looking for John Joyce. John Finn there too. He's had a smashing match, John Finn. A lovely footballer. Always a pleasure to watch him in full flight. But not on this occasion, as that ball goes out over the sideline from Mayo. The Mayo back standing well off their men, resisting the temptation to foul. But can Pádraig Kelly get in there? No, Eugene Lavin has it covered. And Dermot Flanagan lets it out over the line. Well, it's that kind of game. A lot of things have gone right for Mayo, but not everything. Mayo seem to have this one well covered. Liam McHale in there, but it breaks to Tomás Mannion, trying for the goal, but too many bodies, clothed in green and red. Aidan O'Shea, however, to win it back for Galway. And well caught in there by Dermot Flanagan. And Mayo supporters will take Dermot to their hearts again, after being quite critical really about his performance the last day. But Dermot, a good pro in the old-fashioned sense, and there's always a good display to follow an indifferent one. Jimmy Burke, another old pro for Mayo. Rounding Michael Gavin with ease, giving it to Michael Fitzmaurice. Mayo would like to crown this with the score, and they do. Fitzmaurice, the man who got it. One-way traffic now as Mayo head towards the Connacht final meeting with Roscommon. And for that they can thank Liam McHale, I think, perhaps more than most, even if his finishing was somewhat disappointing for long stretches in this game. Well, Michael Fitzmaurice got a couple of lovely points from play, but he'd like to get a nice one from a free too, because he missed quite a few early on. This time he makes amends, and when you're ahead like that, well, things do go right for you. 6 minutes in it, as Jimmy Brown wins this one for Mayo, and the captain can certainly feel well pleased with his performance. Kevin McStay to Dermot Flanagan, to Frank Noon, nicely to Mick Collins, strong man in the Mayo defence, to Jimmy Burke, who picks up those good positions, and he can flight a nice pass too, though not on that occasion. And Michael Gavin, the Galway corner forward, had to go right back there to help his beleaguered defence. Another foul, another free. And for Galway, another time perhaps. A poor kick fielded easily by Jimmy Brown. Ray Dempsey in support. Gives it to Anthony Finnerty. To Frank Noon. He'll try for the point, Frank Noon. That's a nice one. A great point by Frank Noon. Ignore that number 5. They'll know in Hollymount that he can play in the forwards and kick points like that. Well, they're playing out time now in Castlebar, and there isn't much that Tomás Tierney or any of the Galway men can do about it. A goal perhaps would put a bit of respectability on the scoreboard, nothing more. Not that that would matter much either, because Mayo are heading now to the Connacht final, which incidentally will be played in Castlebar. And that's a prospect to look forward to, because it's all but over here. Though Dermot Flanagan will cherish the memory of that one, and he's calm and composed about it. We're in the final minute. There won't be much time added on. There certainly won't be any need to add on time with the scoreboard reading 2:13 to 8 points. Michael Gavin driving it, but the Mayo defence covering again. It's a penalty, says the referee. Well, if the first penalty was questionable, you certainly have to say that that one was questionable. The referee deems that it was a footwork. Can Tomás Tierney send it to the net? He can, but it's too little, too late. Of that, there's no doubt. Tomás Tierney's penalty then makes it a little better for Galway on the scoreboard, but we're in the last seconds of the game now. There was a stage midway through the second half when there was only a score between them, one score. Galway badly needed a goal. Mayo were on top, but that goal would have done it for Galway. Instead, it was Mayo who got the goal when big Liam McHale caught a high one pulled it down and shot a goal. From there on, Mayo played some good football. They consolidated their position. They were well on top, and they're still on top as referee Sean Mullaney blows the final whistle, with Mayo the winners 2-13 to 1-8 in a game that did not, I'm afraid, enhance the image of Connacht football.
Yeah, so a comfortable win there for Mayo at the second attempt, and that perhaps was no more than what most people expected. Mayo then into the Connacht final against Roscommon, and we'll be hearing the thoughts of Roscommon's Paul Early on that in a moment. But first though, let's hear what Enda Colleran had to say about today's game. He talked with Jim Carney after that match.
Well, Enda Colleran, a verdict on the replay.
Well, I must say we didn't have a very enjoyable game here in Castlebar today. In Tuam, the last day in the drawn game, we blamed the weather conditions for the incidents both on and off the ball. This game here today was punctuated by incidents much like those, and it does no credit to either team. If this is the attitude in Connacht football, then I'm afraid teams from Connacht aren't going to get very far. But I think also that the referee has to take some of the blame today, because I think that he did not set the standards early on and allowed some vicious frontal tackles go unpenalised, and I think that this set the trend. OK, towards the end of the game, when Mayo got on top, whether it was that they were playing good football themselves or they were allowed to play, or else that they had got tired belting one another, but Mayo played some really great football the last 15 minutes. But what we had up to that was a sorrowful sight, and I don't think I ever saw more players booked in any one game.
Well, a talking point, and people in the media, on radio and on television and in the print media, people like you and I, are constantly being knocked for knocking Connacht football. But surely we'd be hypocrites if we pretended that it was anything other than a shambles at the moment.
Yeah, well, certainly looking at the standard of sportsmanship shown in the first half today, I think that no young player would be encouraged to take up this game. We all try to encourage our criticisms to be constructive, but no young player would be encouraged by the incidents that he saw on that field today.
Now, looking ahead to the Connacht final, a word on it?
Mayo really looked great the last 15 minutes, but up to that they did not look good. If Mayo could play the kind of football they played the last 15 minutes throughout the whole game, then they are quite a good team. Then it's another question if they will be allowed to play as well, because with present day standards you just don't know.
And hard, I'm sure, Enda, to pick a man of the match from today's game.
Difficult enough, really, because I thought Liam McHale worked tirelessly all through, as did Frank Noon. But the man that I've chosen is John Flynn, because I must say he's a sportsman to his fingertips. He didn't get involved today, play the ball all the time, and a fine display from him.
Yes, a nice compliment from Enda Colleran to John Finn. Some hard words to say on today's match. Let's turn over to Paul Early now. Paul, as I said earlier, it looked easy, I should say, to me in that game. Was it as easy for Mayo as the score suggests?
It was easy in the finish, Michael. It was really a typical championship game with the big prize of a Connacht final place at stake. Mayo started off very confident in the first 15 minutes. Willie Joe Padden fielded some tremendous balls and kicked a great point. But then they failed to dominate the opponents in terms of getting scores. And it was only until Liam McHale got that great left-footed goal in the second half that Mayo began to play the type of football that we know they're capable of playing, and they won the game easily in the end.
Mind you, I just saw the game on the highlights that we saw here, but to me in the first half, Galway looked to have some good scoring chances. There was one in particular that might have ended up in being a goal that could have changed, or could it have changed the course of the game?
It could indeed. Mayo got the tonic of an early penalty, disputed penalty at that, but Galway had one chance of a goal, and there was only a goal behind the team at that stage. A good knockdown there to Michael Gavin. Should have probably tried to round the goalkeeper and place it low, but it was a chance that Galway had and didn't take, and I think it had an outcome on the game in the final analysis.
However, it didn't work out that way for Galway, of course, so it's Mayo then who go forward from here. Now, Enda Colleran in his piece there a moment ago had some harsh words to say about the match. There were two sendings off. There were several people booked in the course of the game. Was it a dirty match from your point of view?
Bearing in mind the circumstances in which the game was played, taking into account the controversy over the original game in Tuam a few weeks ago, I don't think it was that as bad as Enda said. You know, this incident here that we're looking at wasn't as bad again. I didn't think it warranted a sending off. You see, John Finn has the ball. He's won his free. Michael Brennan just runs up, gives him a little bit of a shoulder. Maybe John overreacted a little bit, but the referee at that stage took control of the situation, and I must commend him for that. He took the player aside, but the other players, you know, you can see it there.
Yeah, really in a situation where, given the background to the thing from the last day, the players should have left it alone, because there was another man sent off because of all of this thing.
That's right, yeah. And again, if you notice here, the linesman brings it to the attention of the referee that another player has become involved, you know. And again, a little bit harsh, but bearing in mind the circumstances again and the off-the-ball incidents that occurred in the game 2 weeks ago in Tuam, the referee was keen to stamp his control in the game at that stage. And in the second half, there were very few incidents, in fairness.
Sure. Well, obviously, they seem to have worked whatever little bit of frustration was in the system out of them at that stage, but it was too late for two of the players anyway.
That's
so,
correct.
Paul, then, Mayo have won the game. It's a Mayo-Roscommon final. How do you fancy your chances in that?
Well, Mayo would have to go into the game as overwhelming favourites, Michael, bearing in mind that they are the reigning Connacht champions.
Yes, you'd obviously like them to be anyway, for sure.
Oh, well, when you look at the situation, they've had two very difficult games to prepare for the Connacht final. We had a game against Sligo last week. We defeated a poor Sligo side, so we're not really tested. Allied to that, we have some young players in the team and some injury problems, you know. Mayo have home advantage. So the odds are really stacked in Mayo's favour, Michael.
So the summary of it is, anyway, that Paul Early fancies Mayo for the Connacht title. Well, up north, the hurling final there was revived after 40 years. That